Hey there, I hope you're doing good. And for today, we're going to be talking about something which I don't think anybody has done it. And it's a very ambiguous topic to also kind of explain, but I think that if we get it right, it could be the most biggest game changer for you when it comes to your eyeshadow game. Now, I get a couple of people who tell me that, like they blend their eyeshadows really well, but it still does not blend. And the most common question is, how do you pick your color stories? And some palettes, they look so absurd that it looks so hard to pick the right color stories. So we're going to be answering all these things and some of my secret methods and a couple of ways on how I think and how I plan out my looks. And you've seen my looks pretty well enough, and you've seen me showing you from a palette on how I pick the colors, but how do you do it by yourself if you do not have the same palette as me? Now that becomes the trick, and it is important to know how to do it day after day with any kind of palette. So I'm going to be trying to help you to understand that today. So let's start off. So for starters, let's start talking about color intensity. So a simple way to explain color intensity is that a lot of times your colors do not blend even if it's of the same color family. Now when I say color family, it means like different tones of brown, like different intensities of brown, or different intensities of red, or different intensities of blue, like a light blue, darker blue, darkest blue, something like that. That is basically going to be a color family. Now what happens is that a lot of you end up choosing two colors from one color family which cannot be blended directly into each other. So I know that a lot of people say that blend till your hands hurt, but trust me, I've never done that. It's all about choosing the correct colors. If you choose two colors which can be easily blendable into each other, your work is super easy and you're done. Now to get into this topic a little more, I'm going to show you an example. So this is the ColourPop Stone Cold Fox palette. Now this is largely a monochromatic palette, like it has pretty similar tones, right? Now the first thing which you need to do is to identify what kind of colors you're planning to use for creating a look. So let's say I'm looking at this one, and let's start with something easy like a brown eyeshadow look, right? So I need to do a brown eyeshadow look and I want to have it pretty dark. So my skin tone is somewhere like not too light and not too dark. So I'm somewhere in the medium spectrum. So let's say I'm starting with the darkest brown in this palette, which is right over here, right? So I'm starting with this brown. Now when you compare my skin and this brown, my skin is way more lighter than this brown. So I can't blend this brown directly into my skin because it's way too dark. So you can imagine it kind of like a ladder. So you imagine the top of the ladder to be the darkest tones and the bottom of the ladder to be the lightest tones. So you want to come from the top floor directly to the bottom floor. It's not possible. You have to walk through the ladder. So let's say that this brown right over here is exactly at the top of the ladder and my skin tone is somewhere around the fourth or the fifth stick in the ladder. So you want to come from the 10th to the 3rd. You need to have those in between steps. Now this is where everybody goes wrong. A lot of people, what they do is to just pick a dark brown and start blending it out, and then you're just probably spending half an hour blending and it does not blend, right? So in order to avoid this from happening, let's kind of give it those in between rungs or whatever you call that in the ladder. So if I'm starting with this brown, I can use another brown after this. So let's say from this brown, I can use this brown or this brown. These two are in the same intensity. So when you look at a palette, divide it in terms of intensities. This row, if you see, it has relatively all darker intensities. And I'm talking only about matte eyeshadows. So all of these are the darker intensities. Even this gray here is of a pretty dark intensity. Black is the darkest, the most darkest intensity. And the whitish kind of tones are the most lightest of the intensities. And then you have ones like this, which kind of runs between light to medium. And then you have medium ones like the ones over here, and then you have the deeper ones. So there is something like a smooth gradation of the colors if you notice. So if I want to blend this out, I need to take something which is much more lighter than this, not as light as this. If I use something as light as this to blend this color out, it's not going to blend because it's way too light. You need something which is going to give you that smooth transition across the ladder. So from this brown, we can jump all the way up to this brown. Then from this brown, is my skin as deep as this brown? No, I need something one shade lighter also. I can either use this color or I can use this color. So the last color what we use is what we call as the transition color. Now transition colors are what they're usually around the same intensity of your skin, or they're probably like one shade or two shades at the max deeper than your skin. If it is even more deeper than that, it is not going to give you that smooth seamless blend. Now this is where people most commonly go wrong, and that's the reason why you get a line over here when you blend out your eyeshadows. So I'm just going to insert a picture here which will show you the color value, and that way it becomes a little more easier for you to understand how your blends should look. Just as how the picture looks, you need to start from a darker color, then move on to medium, and then medium to light, and then to light, and then you need to gradually start blending that into your skin. So when you give it that good amount of connectivity, there is literally no lines, and you'll get the most seamless, beautiful blend. So now that you got the color intensity right, let's kind of understand how to play around with colors. Now this is a little complicated to understand, but let's say that you're going in with option number 1, which is just a monochromatic look. Now monochromatic looks are basically just one tone. So I can have a dark brown, a medium brown, and light brown, or dark green, medium green, light green. Now what are analog colors? I'm just going to insert a picture of a color wheel over here, and when you look at the color wheel, you have colors which go in a clockwise manner, and when you see the colors, any two colors which are next to each other in the color wheel will blend out. Now when you look at the color wheel, you cannot blend two colors which are opposite to each other, or if you skip a color in the middle and if you choose a couple of options, it does not blend well. For example, I can't blend a red and a green together. You can try blending. If you have a red and a green eyeshadow, you're just going to end up with a line in the middle and it will not blend at all. But the same thing, let's say I'm going in a cyclic order. So let's say I do red, orange, yellow, it will blend out. Let's say I'm trying to blend yellow, green, it will blend out well together. I can blend greens and blues, it's going to blend out together. I can blend blue and purple, it's going to blend out. Purples and reds, it's going to blend out. So the most key factor which you should understand in this is that I give you the most biggest secret right now on how people sit and figure out colors. Now, to be honest, like before I even knew about the color wheel, I kind of had a good color sense, like from the time I was a kid. I think it's just the way my brain works. And if you are not able to think that way, I think the color wheel is like a very easy cheat sheet for you. You just have to correctly pick the colors which are next to each other and you can easily blend it out. So let's say you go in with an orange eyeshadow and you are struggling to blend the orange out. Use a little bit of yellow in the periphery, just like a transition eyeshadow, and you will be easily able to blend it out. Now this of course comes in rule with the first theory which I gave you, which is to understand the intensities. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to pick a very dark red, kind of like a very dark, kind of burnt maroon or a very dark brown kind of a color. That is going to be my first color. And then the second color in the middle is going to be orange, which should not be too light. You can't take a light peach because the red and the orange will not blend there. Hence, you need to pick a medium intensity orange. For example, like sunflower orange, or kind of like Fanta, the drinking Fanta, that kind of orange. That can be your second color. So only then these two will blend. And then coming to the third color, it should be a yellow, which should be super light. Now that is the most important factor. And once you do this, the yellow can easily blend into your skin and the work is done for you. So let me give you another example, green and blue. So if you're going to use green and blue, you have two options. Light green, dark blue, or the other way around, a dark green and a light blue. The lighter color will always be outwards and the darker color will be closer towards the eye. And that is as simple as it gets when it comes to planning out your looks. So there you have my secret, and that is as simple as it gets. You just need to pick a color which is workable either in the monochromatic color scheme or the analogous one. Now, if you're picking up analogous, make sure that it also obeys the rule of color intensity. So you need to pick one which is light, medium, dark, and then you need to choose the color depending on what you want to work with. Darkest colors go inwards and it goes all the way out to the lighter colors. So I feel like these tips are going to be a great game changer for you, and if you found this helpful, please do give me a big thumbs up and let me know down in the description bar below on some kind of colors which you use and how you struggle with it, or how did it go after you learned this entire concept. So let me know how it went and give me your feedback down in the comment section below. I would highly appreciate it. So I'll see you guys for another one, and until next time, bye.